Today we'll be creating this fun snow globe animation in Procreate. Hi, I'm Diana, the artist behind MyMcDoodles. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back. Today we'll be making the snow globe animation in Procreate. This tutorial is for all levels, but if you're a beginner, then it will really be helpful in introducing you to some of the key features that Procreate offers to create cute little animations and GIFs and stuff like that. I've created a document the size of my screen. You can work in whatever size you wish. Just make sure it's set at 300 dots per inch so that it's a nice clear illustration when you're finished. That will allow you to export it as like a PNG or a GIF or GIF, however you say that, in all kinds of different formats so that you can use it for a variety of projects. I'm using the monoline brush that comes for free with the Procreate app. It's in the calligraphy section of the library. For my colors, I'm going to just go with these happy pumpkin colors. It's available in my Doodle Squad library. If you're not already a member, you can go to dianamcdermott.com/freebies and download some freebies there, and also sign up for the Doodle Squad to have access to a more extensive library of Procreate tools and goodies. So I'm going to use this palette that's included in those freebies and just kind of like modify some of the colors. Like I'll probably add a light blue and like a lighter pink and some things like that. But these are my base colors that I'm going to be using. So if you want to, you could sketch out your snow globe base first just by going in and sketching out your design like this. I usually just go for it with my pen without making any sketch or anything like that because I kind of like it to be like wonky and quirky and stuff like that. If you want this to be perfectly symmetrical, you can use the tool that's in Procreate where you go to this actions menu, which is the wrench, canvas, and then drawing guide, click that on, and then edit drawing guide and choose symmetry here. And it will give you a perfect line of symmetry right down the middle of your canvas. When you draw on the left side, it'll duplicate over on the right side and it gives you a perfectly symmetrical design. So if you wanted your snow globe to be perfect, you could utilize a tool such as the symmetry guide in Procreate. I've made a new layer on top of that sketch layer. Since I already have my sketch, I might as well use it. So I'm just going in with the monoline brush and tracing over my sketch, and then I'll just use color drop to fill in the whole area. If you notice, sometimes with your color drop, if you have like a white border like that, it's because your threshold is off. So if you hold your pen down and then drag it over until you see the color drop threshold, see the level going up, you can go all the way until it spills out and then just go back a little bit. And then you can see it completely fills the area. I have my base. Now I need my globe for the top. So I'll make a new layer and I'd like to grab blue, but maybe a little bit lighter than that. So I'm just going to adjust it a little bit and get it like, oh, more up in this quadrant here, just like a really light blue. And then I want to save it. So I'm just going to tap to my color palette to save that color there. And then I would like to draw a circle to make it perfectly round circle. You just kind of draw it the best you can. Hold your pen down without lifting your pen. It will create a smooth shape, but it might not necessarily be a perfect circle. Like see how it says ellipse? But if you place a finger on the screen in a different area, it will create a perfect circle. I don't know why it still says ellipse, but it turned it into a perfect circle. And if you need to, you can click edit the shape and adjust things. So I like that circle. I'm going to color drop to fill it again and then just adjust it onto my snow globe so it was a little bit more centered and stuff. Um, and then once you're happy with that, you deselect it. But I don't want it to be opaque like this. I want it to be transparent so that I can see the contents inside of the globe. So I'm just going to take it down in the opacity slider here a little bit. That's like 30%. And that's about the level I would like so that I can see the stuff inside of my globe. Now you can see here, this is kind of wonky looking. You could leave it like that if you don't mind it. I kind of want it to look like it's resting right into the base without this like weird overlap. So what I'll do is just erase out the part that's overlapping there of the red section An easy way to do that is to just press select. So you tap on the glass layer there, push select, and then it's going to select just this round area. And I want to erase out the red. So then while it's still selected, I go back up into my layer menu and I tap on the layer 2, which is my red layer. And then you can either just swipe 3 fingers down and press cut, or you could go in with your eraser tool and erase out if you just want to do like, you don't necessarily want to erase the whole area, just bits and pieces. You could use your eraser tool. Well, I want the whole thing erased, so I can just press cut in that case. And then you can see now it's perfectly aligned where it erased out any overlapping areas. So now that we have our snow globe set up, we can do the fun part, which is adding in the stuff inside the globe and also animating maybe some like glitter or snowflakes floating around inside. So I have some PNGs that I have already exported that I would like to put inside of my globe, but you can just create new layers and make whatever you want inside. So like, I don't know, maybe you want to make like a snowman. Let's put them on top so you can see what you're drawing there. And just draw your objects that you want inside in new layers. That way you can move it around and you're not forced to keep it in the one spot, like if you don't like where it's placed. And it also allows you to draw it a little bigger and then kind of like resize it. So I have this little snowman and I saved my original here and I duplicated it so I can change the size and stuff. And if I don't like it or something happens, I have my original. So I drew it on top of the glass globe layer so that I could see what it was doing. And then I'll move it to, inside of the globe in a minute. So first I'd like to resize it so that it makes sense for the snow globe. And I'll just kind of shrink it down a little bit here and center it up. I have some PNGs I wanted to use that I drew previously of my 2 boys. I want to see if they'll work in this snow globe or if maybe the style doesn't match. So I might just leave this little snowman by himself, but let's just try it. So I'm going to kind of put them off to the side there and see if I can import one of those PNGs, if one of those will work. So to import previous illustrations or things you have saved as PNGs, you can just click the wrench tool, which is the actions menu, add, and then insert a photo. You could even insert a photo of like a real life photo, which could be kind of cute, like a real picture of your child or yourself or something like that. I'm just going to go with the cartoon version since I have it already made. So I'm just going to click insert a photo and choose it from my camera roll. And I have one more I'd like to add, which is the little brother drinking his hot cocoa. And he's a little shorter, so we want to get him like a size that makes sense. And we'll have to arrange them a little bit inside of the globe so they're not like hanging off the edges and stuff. So something like that looks good. And let's just scooch them over and resize them a little bit so that they're little inside the globe. So I like those characters in there, and then I'll just put a little snow on the ground, just make a new layer behind the snowman, and just kind of like add in some fluff. It doesn't matter if you go out of the lines because you can use that trick I showed you earlier where you select and erase just the area um, that's outside of the borders. You can see this is a mess. It's totally out of the lines and everything. That's okay. So I'm going to go to my globe. So you need to push select and then invert. And then it's going to select the area outside of the circle and then cut. You can either do it with 3 fingers and you swipe down or up here in this, I don't use this very often, this actions menu here. And then there's a cut option, but it's much quicker for me just to do like the gesture. And now it's perfectly in my globe. The only thing is it's on top of the glass and we want it to be inside. So I will take these layers that I want to be inside of my globe, group them up into a folder, and then just put it below my glass layer. And you can see how it's looks like it has like the transparent glass over the top, but it's still like a little bit hazy, so you can tell that it's covered. I would like to add just maybe like a little bit more to that so that's really obvious. So what I want to do is either erase out of this glass layer like shines and like transparency, or you can mask it so that you don't have to redo everything if you don't like how it turned out. Right here, if you push mask, and then it'll create a layer mask on top. If you use black, it erases out bits, and if you use white, it restores it. So I'm going to just erase out like a little transparent area there, just like here and there, to make it really obvious that it is like a glass layer over the top, something like that. And I just kind of want to blend it a little bit. So I'm going to use the smudge tool. There's some airbrushing tools that are free in the Procreate app. I'm going to choose one of those and use it as my smudge to kind of blend out that hard area there. So let's just try this one called Soft Airbrush. It's in the airbrush section of the Procreate app library. And then just kind of like blur this out a little bit. Let me make it on a dark background so you can see a little better on the video, like what I'm doing here. There we go. And so when I blur the edges, it'll just make it a little bit softer so that's not like this hard edge there. I just want to be careful I don't blur the outer area there because that should stay like a nice crisp edge. So something like that looks good. And then I'm just going to change this back to white. If you're happy with how that came out, you can merge it down. And if you need to adjust anything, you can just use a white brush and color over the areas you want to fix up, and it'll erase out like it'll restore, I should say, like the blue to this area. Like if you had to fix that, you just color over and you see how it's turning blue again. Like if you wanted like a sharp edge to make like your shine really crisp or something like that in certain areas, you could do that. I'm just going to leave mine as it was and merge it down. I added in some little details into my snow globe, like this holly and the happy holidays in the year. You could add a little bit to yours just to make it a little bit more festive and customize it the way you like. Now it's time to add in the contents of the actual snow globe and animate it, which is the really fun part. If you've never animated in Procreate before, I'll cover like a few basics here so that you have an animation that works the way you want it to, and we'll talk about like layers and how that affects your animation. So you can see I have all of my pieces here in individual layers. If you want something to act as one layer, you need to group it up. So anything that's in a folder like this will act as one frame in the animation. And I'll show you what I mean in a sec here. If you're happy with all of this, you could flatten it down, but if you think you might need to change some things, then I would suggest just grouping it up into a folder like this, so that it's all preserved, but acts as one flat layer in your animation. So I'll just go ahead and group all of mine up. And anything that is not visible, like how this snowman, this is my original snowman, how it's not checked off won't show up in your animation. So I'm going to leave him out of the folder since he's turned off anyway. And I changed my background to this black just so you could see a little better what I'm doing. But in the end, I will probably have the background as like a different like Christmassy scene, or like some twinkly like lights on a Christmas tree, or just transparent background so I could export it as a GIF. So my folder's set up. Then you can go here to the Actions menu, click Canvas, and then Animation Assist. And you can see when you turn that on, you'll get this menu at the bottom of your screen, and that's how you can work with your animation, with the frames and the settings and all kinds of stuff. It makes it really easy. So this is acting as one frame right now. If you start to draw in some snowflakes, you'll see that this is going to blink off and on as if it's like part of the animation. So we'll have to adjust some settings to make it remain visible the whole time. So I'm just going to click Add Frame and draw in some snowflakes inside of the globe. And the default settings for the animation in Procreate, it like makes this a different color so you can kind of see what you're doing and what layer you're working on. You can also adjust things like the onion skin frame, the transparency, and then like how many onion skin frames you can see. So you can play around with that and just see how it works for you and what settings you like. But I'm going to leave it as the default. It works for me, so I'm just going to leave it alone. So let's draw a few snowflakes in here. Maybe a couple like dots. And you can see if I push play, it's like really crazy. It's like blinking like crazy. Now I don't want my snow globe to be part of the animation. I don't want it to blink. So I'm going to go back to that frame and just tap on it. And you can push, if it's in the very bottom layer, you can push that you want it to be a background. Well, right now it's not in the very bottom layer because I have this invisible snowman. So what I can do is just scoot it all the way to the bottom. And now when I tap on it, you can see it allows me to click on background. So I'll go ahead and click that on. And now it's going to stay, and you can see when I push play it does nothing because I only have one frame of my animation. So you can push add frame and do some more snowflakes and test it. And now you can see only the snowflakes are blinking. Now they're blinking way too fast. So you can go to settings and then just adjust your frames per second. I generally like to do like 3-ish, give or take, depending what the animation is. And that works well for me. And you can see that this looks much better once it's playing. It's not like anything crazy. It looks like a nice, appealing animation. So you can keep going through and continuing to add frames, or a shortcut is to use the snowflakes you've already drawn, go up here into your layers menu, and just duplicate the frames and then kind of just like move them around. Like I like to just flip them and just make it a little different so I don't have to draw them that many times. This is pretty simple, but it's still a shortcut. I like shortcuts, so let's try that and see how that looks. Yeah, it looks pretty good. It could be fun to have like some glitter in there and stuff. It looks nice. The only other thing I'm thinking is that maybe we want the snow globe to be actually in the foreground. So you can set things as backgrounds, and if it's the top frame, you can set the foreground. Well, maybe we want the snow globe to be in the foreground just because the snowflakes should be inside. I don't know, it might look a little better. So let's just try that and see how it looks. So turn off background on that frame, or it won't let you move it, and then put it all the way to the front. And now click on it and push foreground. And then your snowflakes are all in these layers below the snow globe, and it should look like they're inside the globe a little better, which might be nice because we work to make these like transparent areas and stuff, so we might as well take full advantage of them since we took the time to make them. And I really like that. I think that looks pretty cute. I hope this was fun for you. If you make it, tag me at MyMcDoodles if you post it on Instagram, and let me know in the comments what you think below. If you're not already a member of my Doodle Squad, I would love to have you, so head on over to my website to grab your free Procreate goodies and so we can stay connected and do fun projects like this. Thanks for watching. Happy holidays!